What's going on, guys? This is Derek Ledwidge from Strive Fitness Performance. Today's video, I'm going to end up going over how to get tone or lean. And I'm really excited to actually talk about this just simply because this is often what people want, but all the cards are pretty much stacked against them on actually getting what they're actually looking for. All right. It's usually a mindset and stuff like that, but it's also how they go about doing the workouts. And so today I'm going to end up going over, and this can be for men or women, right? Usually guys like to say the lean look, and women usually say the tone look. Now, usually with this, it ends up turning into they want to look differently as opposed to lose weight. Okay. Those are two very different things that we want to think about. Okay. Losing weight doesn't necessarily mean you're going to look that much different. In fact, most people, when they do it wrong, and we'll talk about this, they end up, thinking that they're going to get option B, the lean / tone look. And in reality, they just get the quote unquote, the squishy look, right? And they're smaller, but they're also like their body fat percentage is a little bit that, all right? The skinny fat scenario. And so if you're ready to see some of this, if at any point you like any of this type of information, feel free to give me a like in the group, just simply because it actually promotes it across the group and more people can actually see this. And so it's always going to be in our little categories. Just make sure you can always go back and see it. Okay, so how to get tone. We're going to end up going through what people are doing now, or what people do wrong, what the people actually are doing now, which is actually what the gyms say you should be doing, and what you should actually be doing. All right, and so a lot of this is going to be that aha moment. And as we talk about it, many people are in two different categories. Okay, so just think about it that way when we start thinking about this. Either A, they have a lot to weight to lose, or B, they don't, and it's either because they lost a bunch of weight, now they think they want to be getting it a little bit toned. Okay, so most people, view it, I need to lose a whole bunch of weight, so this doesn't apply to me. But in reality, it does. Okay, it's very, very general what I'm about to talk about right here. So keep that in mind as we start going through this. All right, so the screen is shared a little bit. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so we can actually see. All right, so how to get tone. Okay, what people actually do. Okay, most people, okay, when they try to lose weight, they generally want to actually look a little bit different. So that's the first thing. Okay, you have to view about what actually equals success. Doesn't matter what happens right now in like 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, or how do I want to look in 12 months? Where do I want to be? Because it's a very, very different thing. I can give you 1,000-calorie diet right now and you would lose weight. You would not look differently. Okay. You would be smaller, but you wouldn't really look like you work out. Most people want that look, that little tone look. They want to see the muscles, all that stuff, and not get, like huge or like that. And that's another story for another time. But what people do, okay, cardio, okay, they also do the restrictive diets. Now, we're not really going to go too much into the diet phase right here. It's just going to be more general. But basically, they know they have to do a bunch of cardio. I'm just going to do this. Restrictive dieting. I'm just going to do all of this stuff. Okay. Now, again, will that help you lose weight? Absolutely. All right. But again, we want to keep the muscle. Okay. And actually, I want to actually put that right here. Okay. We want to lose fat and keep muscle. That is the overall goal. Okay. It's not about losing weight. It's about keeping the muscle. Okay. So most people, they want to do the cardio. They want to do the restrictive dieting. Also, most people think that it is going to happen in 6 to 8 weeks. Okay. They think it's actually going to happen right away. Now, again, some people, it might be, right? Some people, like, for instance, myself, that does like photo shoot preps and things like that. Okay, I could easily go through a little bit of a restrictive diet right now, and I'd actually show off some of my muscles. Okay, so that it would end up showing in about like 6 to 12 weeks, something like that. All right, but that's generally what people want to do. Okay, some people also believe or also know that they have to do some strength training. Okay, and I'll touch about that in a second. Okay, so they know they need to lift a little bit of weights. Okay, most women, they feel, not that much weights because they don't want to look like a dude. Okay, again, non-existent. That's not going to happen for most people, especially general population. All right, and so this is going to be the biggest thing right here. Okay, when it comes into training. Okay. So that is what people most of the time do. Okay. And I'm going to talk about the biggest flaws with that. Okay. So now, one of the biggest flaws, okay, is that strength training piece. All right. So now most people, most gyms, most places, they know that is a thing. They know that it's, what tone is it now? It's not necessarily about weight loss. It's about being toned, all that stuff, getting lean. That's what we want. That's what most people want. So that becomes a lot what they promote. Okay. This would be, like even in our group exercise classes, this would be, the F45 where you go like 45 seconds on, 15 off for an hour and do the different stations. Even Fit Body Boot Camp, that's a little bit more body weight, but it's generally 30-minute workouts. A lot of those things they hey, we're going to get you to become lean. It's a very, very different thing. All right. So now the strength training, quote unquote, that people say that they do, okay, or we're getting like an Orange Theory, right? They're using random weights. Okay. And then they also do light weights. Okay. So they're using like 20 pounds, 15 pounds, 10 pounds, stuff like that. Okay. For everyone. So not only is it very random, okay, not according to you, but you're using light weights and they're calling it strength training. All right. Same thing when people go to the regular gym. Oh, yeah, I do strength training. Okay. Strength training doesn't mean you have to lift, 300 pounds. It's not about that. Strength training is relative. Okay. Strength training, all it really matters is, are you progressing? Okay. If you're progressing, what that means is, again, we can go through biggest like programming, stuff like that. I'm not going to go over that right now. That's a main another video. But are you progressing? Okay. If you're, doing, 10 pounds and you're doing like 30 reps and you know that you can do more, right? That's not good, right? We're generally going between, like 6 to 12, and again, different variations, reps. Okay. And if you can get 2 or more after you're done, you need to increase. Okay. It should be uncomfortable. If you're not uncomfortable with it, then that's an issue. We're not actually going to progress. Right. So all, grabbing some of that stuff and just getting 30 reps and you're just getting a great workout, that's not necessarily going to get you that tone look. Okay. That's the difference. I created another video before about the difference between training and working out. Really depends on what your goals are. If you're just trying to get really, healthy and you're getting a little bit stronger, stuff like that, working out is great. But if you want to get a lean look and actually do that, it actually has to train. You actually have to progress a little bit. All right. So that is one of the biggest things that I've been seeing now is that most people, they say they are strength training because that's what everyone says you need to do, but they're not actually strength training. They're using weights, but it's not actually the right way. And that's usually the biggest indicator what most people do wrong now. Okay. So what do you need to do and actually to get this? Okay. First off, the mindset. Okay. Okay. It is not going to take 6 to 8 weeks. Okay. Everyone is different, right? If you have a bunch of weight to lose, it is obviously going to take a little bit longer. Okay. But if we are even smaller, okay, it is actually going to take a little bit different ways. Okay. So it's not about where do I want to be in 6 to 8 weeks. It is where do I want to be next year? All right, that's usually what we end up doing for our hybrid coaching clients. For like virtual nutrition, all that stuff. We progress all of their programs, even in-house at Strive. Doing our small group personal training, our lift, quote unquote, our lift program. We're always progressing with that. Okay, so it's not about where do I want to be right now, is where do I want to be later on. And this can be easy for people that need to lose like 50 plus pounds. We're just becoming more efficient in what we do. Most people that work out, and again, if your goal is just to work out, that is completely fine. If your goal is to train to actually get an overall goal, more efficient is actually better. Okay, so that's the first piece. Okay, it's not necessarily going to take 6 to 8 weeks, right? And the problem with that is, because what most people end up doing is, if they're in this mindset, okay, if they're in that 6 to 8 weeks, okay, they may get results after. Okay, so they might look lean after 6 to 8 weeks. Someone like myself, right? Or like some people that are smaller and they want that tone look. They might get it after a restrictive diet. Okay. Okay. But if they don't have a good baseline of muscle, okay, it will go away fast. All right. So if you don't have that good baseline of muscle, it will go away relatively fast. Okay. That's why it's not about where do I want to be in 6 to 8 weeks. It's how do I want to look later on next year? Okay. So that's the biggest mindset. Most people have problems actually thinking about that, because everyone thinks it's going to be really quick. Okay. That's why if you are, especially if you're smaller, doing all of these different like programs, okay, it's not necessarily going to get you that. Okay. So now it's going to be different stuff. Okay, I'm going to do a cut, then I'm going to do a build, and blah, 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 blah. There's a whole bunch of different ways to go about it, but it's not about the 6 to 8 weeks. Okay, so training. Okay, I already mentioned a little bit. Okay, actual strength training, what it actually is. Most people do not do it right. Okay, actual strength training, not working out. All right, training means I am progressing. Okay, these would be the people that are, tracking their weights. They know what they did before. The difference between training and actually working out. Okay, they're actually doing that. They're not just doing random shit at the gym. They're not just going into a class and picking up 20-pound weights because it's the only weights that's there in that station, and they're just doing 30 reps and they keep on going back and forth in 10 minutes, and all of a sudden now, boom, they're, they go on to the next one. It's actually progressing what you actually want. Now, this is why personal training gets, like one-on-one personal training gets the best results, simply because of this. We see everything, right? We're actually, jotting it down. Okay, group class is fine, but the success of that is predetermined. It's what are you getting out of it, right? Some people have that, they pre-frame themselves into that. But if you actually want a specific goal, you have to get a little bit more specific, nutrition, training. Right. This is generally the biggest thing that is the differentiator, is the training part of that. Okay. Now with the actual everything else, let's see. All right. So now with everything else, obviously there's the nutrition. All right. The biggest thing about getting tone is the training part. All right. The nutrition is relatively the same thing. And again, this stuff is very, very general, right? It doesn't matter if you have 100 plus pounds to lose, or if you literally have the last 5. It's generally about the same scenario. The only thing is you're at a different part of your journey. All right. So I'm going through phases. We talked about that before with the nutritional periodization. I'll talk about that in another video. But basically, this is how you end up doing that, right? I'm going through a cut or a diet, And then this is, this is my overall goal. And I'm going to show my muscles after I actually did this out. Okay. But the biggest thing is the training part. That's usually what people fall off on when they're actually trying to get tone. Right. If you have a longer period of time, it's going to show off longer. It's basically what it is. All right. But the difference, or the training modalities, it does not change. That's the foundation. The only thing that really changes is your diet as you're trying to build muscle, as you're trying to lose weight. Okay. Or lose fat. Sorry. All right. So that is how we get tone. It's very, very different. It is not sexy by any means. Okay. It's not a product of saying, hey, here you go. It is just actually having a program. Okay. Whether it is virtual with our hybrid programs or just straight up, training at the gym, it's actually paying attention to what's going on. Doing random shit and being very, very busy does not equal actual results. Again, majority of the time, everyone's at the same different thing. Okay. Whatever your results are, that's the important thing. All right. If you have any questions or like that after watching all of this, okay, feel free to post in here. Okay. Or message me, anything like that. Again, I'll always see this and I'll always be able to answer any of those questions. But that is how we get tone. Put a little save marker underneath that so that way we can see it later on down the line. You can always come back to it. Okay. I'll talk to you guys next week.